everybody!
Hi, all.
Welcome back to ESO Live. It's been a little bit, yeah?
Been a few weeks.
Yeah. decided to come back. And look, we have these new snazzy microphones.
Aren't they cool?
They're not little moles on our face. Now you can hear us, hopefully.
So thank you all for joining us. We have a really fun show lined up today, including talking about the zone guide, the guild trader UI, and talking to our new Loremaster.
We have a new Loremaster, you guys.
We do.
In case you missed it, that happened.
So actually, hey, let's check out the show lineup screen. There we go.
That thing.
All right.
So basically what Jess just said.
But with senior systems designer Michael Edwards and lead UI designer Bobby Weir, we're going to talk about Zone Guide and Guild Trader UI and show them to you in-game.
It's live, too. So everything that you see exists. And you can do it. On all platforms.
Yep.
After we talk with Michael and Bobby, we will be joined by our new Loremaster. It's Leamon Tuttle. He's been on the show a couple times, but not as the Loremaster. So this is a momentous occasion.
So everybody be very welcoming.
Be nice, everyone.
All right, we're going to go through a few quick news items, and then we will hop right into talking to our dev guests.
Yes. So, as mentioned, Update 21 and Wrathstone is live on PC, Mac, and Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Console just launched a few days ago, so if you haven't gotten to play yet, now's the time because it's all live. It also comes with 2 new dungeons, the Guild Trader updates. Gosh, what else is in there? I'm blanking. There's a bunch of stuff. It's all in the patch notes. You can go check it out on the forums.
Also, the Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood celebration event is going on now. That does end on Monday, so get all your rewards and your event tickets before it ends.
What else? We have also on Monday an incremental patch for PC. Now, this is going to be a little bit smaller than the last one. It just has a few fixes in there. One of them, though, is the fix for the add-ons that broke last week. So some of you were saying, where's my items? I can't see anything. Have I been looking at the wrong camera this whole time?
Maybe.
Where? This one.
Okay.
We haven't played this game in a while.
That.
We haven't played the camera game in a while. The little light didn't turn on, so I had a moment of panic for a second. Some of you were saying that you couldn't see any of your items. It looked like they disappeared. It was actually tied to add-on usage with some add-ons, so that's going to be fixed on Monday.
Woohoo! Go add-ons.
Go add-ons.
And we do have another event coming up. Some of you may have seen it, some hints of it in the Crown Store Showcase for this month. The Jesters Fest is returning. That's coming up on March 21st. So watch for an article about it with full details early next week.
It's always fun, and I think they have a thing where you can like throw pies at people's faces.
Yep.
So
and
who doesn't want to do that?
The Pebble Pal and the Hobby Horse mounts are coming.
I don't know if really. I mean,
everybody told Gina's husband to stop texting her.
I'm actually sweating, and I had to look because he said he forgot to get our kid at daycare, and they closed 5 minutes ago. But then he goes, "Just kidding." So. This is typical. That's why I was like, wait. Sorry. Now I'm perspiring. So yeah, if some of you don't get the rock reference, I know we were talking a little bit like maybe this is only for the older generation, but they had something called Pet Rocks. That's why it's funny. Anyway. Moving on. We saw some of you asking about the T-shirts.
The Q4 T-shirts.
The Q4 promotion, our Elder Scrolls thing. Those are being shipped out the week of the 25th.
March 25th.
March 25th, not September. So be on the lookout. And I think you're going to be getting an email, too, once those get shipped out.
Yep,
so
the store
you'll know.
Will send out something saying it's on the way.
You'll know. It won't be a secret anymore.
And then Bethesda Game days.
Jinx. That's a thing. We even have a graphic. Awesome.
Yay.
So that's happening March 29th and 30th in Boston. It's going to be at Laugh and MJ O'Connor's. Now, those are the two places, if you've been in the convention center, they're the ones that are kind of like in the convention center, but not in where all the booths are.
Yep.
So you don't need a PAX badge, which is pretty cool. You can just show up. We'll be there along with other devs.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that event later in the show.
Totally. But for now,
that's it. And now we're going to say hello to our guests.
Talk to some people.
Hi.
Hello. So we have Bobby Weir our lead UI designer, and Michael Edwards. I think your first time on the show, right?
Yes.
Well,
Awesome.
welcome.
Well, welcome.
Nice.
Hope we don't scare you away.
Yeah.
Oh, I also wanted to mention real quick. Sorry for interrupting. Twitch drops are active right now.
Yes.
If you play on
Ooh.
PC Mac, just make sure you have your account linked, and then you'll get them after the show ends.
Awesome.
That's
Very
That's all
cool.
I wanted to say. Sorry.
Continue.
Please continue. So you both were kind of working hand in hand to create some of the base game features in Update 21, Guild Trader updates, Zone Guide, which everybody really seems to love, right?
Yeah, it's definitely been an amazing feature.
Yeah, haven't had a great time putting it together. Got some great feedback, reacting to that feedback, just
love it.
seeing what
Yeah,
people are
it's so
doing with
good.
it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was very, very cool to see it go on live for the first time. And I actually did this on PTS, but actually go on my live characters, see what I've done, see what I haven't done. It was
It
really
does
cool to
help
see
a
it all,
lot.
see it all pieced
Yes.
together for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm manically clicking because they're saying that maybe drops aren't on. Yes, they are. I see it.
They're on.
It's on.
Are you guys trolling her? Just like her husband.
No, Sarah's
Trolling
actually
Gina.
trolling.
Blink twice if no.
Oh.
Yeah, but- right. I'm really good at interrupting. We do this every show, just so you know.
Well, let's
my
take a
job.
look at Zone Guide. Or no,
I
are we
think we're
doing
gonna
Zone
look at
Guide or
Guild
Guild
Trader,
Trader
right?
first?
Yeah, so
Okay, so what are some of the updates that we did to Guild Traders in this update?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we did with the Guild Trader was we added a proper text search. So if you want to buy something, you know what it is, you type it in, you get results.
Magic.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was a lot more. It was a lot of
love
work because of various technical reasons, but it's there. It works beautifully. So, for example, right now I actually on the live server am running low on Ancestor Silk for my crafting reds. So I'll go to this guild store.
Ooh, some lucky sellers
Yeah,
gonna get
I'm
a
spending
purchase.
my hard-earned gold on this Ancestor Silk.
You have a lot of gold.
Yeah, I guess I do.
I
So
actually can't see if that's a 1 or a 7.
Do you
but-
do your writs?
yeah, for the most part, I try to do them on a handful of characters because, but some things you run kind of low on. If it's a few days in a row, you're doing Ancestor Silk ones versus the
Yep.
Rubido Leather.
Yep.
You kind of can run low on one of the two mats. But yeah, I'm definitely low on Ancestor Silk. So I've typed in Ancestor, and one of the cool things that we have is sort of an autocomplete. Basically, the way this works is the game client knows all of the tradable items in the game, and that's how
awesome.
it fuels all this
That is
stuff.
cool.
So I could just stop at Ancestor and get results that match Ancestor universally, or I could select Ancestor Silk and kind of zero in on it. So it's sort of done the exact match version, which is what the little quotes are around it, kind of like a Google search. And now I have my results. So yeah, pretty straightforward, kind of painless.
But so useful.
Yes,
You
yes.
know? Just the littlest thing really
Yeah,
makes a big difference.
Exactly. A few other things, though, that we added based on what we've seen people ask for, what we've seen some of our add-ons do as well, are both the unit price and also recent searches. So the unit price is nice and useful because you can kind of see what the best deal is. So, for example, if I had come here and just looked at the total price, I'd see a stack of 3, which admittedly I probably wouldn't buy, but the total price is only 67 gold because it's only 3. But this stack of 100 over here, while it is way more expensive to buy it outright, the unit price is substantially lower at 15 gold a pop.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm going to buy this Ancestor Silk from this lucky seller.
Hey, congrats.
Cool. And now I have it. And then yeah, the recent searches over here. If you're bouncing around between different traders trying to find the best deal and you're searching for a few things, you can select the recent searches to instantly load a previous search that you had before. So you can kind of more rapidly check for deals and shop around.
So was one of the inspirations for this based on player feedback? Was it pretty much all based on player feedback? Like, did you guys look at what players were asking for and the pain points and come up with this?
Yeah, so we looked at player feedback because definitely have been adamant about various guild trader improvements. Specifically, we were focused on UI improvements for this update. We looked at the Awesome Guild Store add-on, which had a heavy inspiration because they do super great work. And I've seen the beta version that they already had released. I checked it out last week, and it's even better than it was before, which is really cool.
Awesome.
We also looked at some of our data for actual the transactional data that happens here. So one of the small changes we made was pulling the glyphs category out to the top, because one of the most commonly transacted things in the game is the armor glyphs, weapon glyphs, jewelry glyphs, the enchantments basically.
Yeah.
So little things like that we try to include into this update as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as the lead UI designer, what is your role in all of this? Is it the kind of, you're not the one actually programming it, are you kind of directing people on how you want things to function and look generally?
Right. So yeah, a lot of it is that initial upfront research to kind of figure out like what the problems are, what the pain points are, and trying to figure out how to address them.
Yeah, how do you fix it?
Very often what we'll do as a designer is actually prototype things, so kind of bare bones, basic click-throughs of mock-ups and things of that nature to test our assumptions and sort of validate them. And then, we eventually do get into that programming stage where me and the programmers are constantly back and forth about the smallest little decisions half the time, sometimes big ones too. But it's a very iterative process. And I guess to summarize, I'm sort of like the direction to some extent. Yeah.
Cool. And how did
tell
you
people
two,
what to do.
How did you two work together on this?
So this one was just UI, actually.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So the zone guide is
Michael's
where
over there
he
like,
and I.
I'm waiting for the zone guide.
Yeah. So with the zone guide, that's where he and I became best buds.
Cool. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about it
Yeah.
then. So Zone Guide, I know when it was on PTS, a lot of players were like, man, this is really effing cool. And now that it's live, it's pretty popular and it's super helpful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's designed to do a lot of things with a lot of different features, even though it's wrapped up in this feature called Zone Guide. It's the page that shows the zone completion and the achievements. It's the map with the list of things that you can complete there. It's the change to a quest icon, so it's easier to find your main quests while you're going through a zone. It's just a lot of little things coming together with a lot of different teams to make something that we're trying to help a little bit of every player type that we have.
And definitely the completionists.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it'll help
yes.
the completionists. We also wanted to make sure we help the people that have no idea where they are. Like some players, they went on vacation during the holidays, came back and like, man, what am I going to do now?
How
leave off?
Well,
dare they?
we're going to help you out here. We're going to give you a button to press just to push you back, like lead you back into getting back into the game and getting some stuff done. And yeah, it all came together great, and players are loving it so far.
I actually don't know if I have an entire map completely completed. So I'm curious, when it's completely, like all the bars are filled up full, does it just show all of them full? Does it say completed?
It will show all of the bars full, but you also have to think, like if you go to the zone guide, like Bobby's going to press the one of the magical buttons, that'll take us there. Now you also have featured achievements for a zone.
That's awesome.
That way, if you're already the completionist that filled the bars, well, what else can I do? Do I want to get my angler achievement? Not every player was fishing. We want to say, hey, fishing can get you some nice things, so go ahead and start fishing. Did you do the events in the public dungeons? We're trying to give players just more things to do because there's so much to do in our game. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and there's a lot of players that haven't completed a lot of this stuff yet. Oh, we have our first friend.
Or maybe they don't even know that there's more to do in a zone, so this can help inform.
Yep, definitely. That was one of our intents on it.
Somebody's
You're joining us.
photobombing us. Oh, look at all the petals.
That's sweet. That's very sweet.
Lovely.
That's great.
It's better than some alternatives.
A mud ball?
I
Oh,
was
soon to
thinking,
be a pie.
I was thinking something else, but that mud ball, yes, that's fine.
Soon to be a pie.
The pies are going to be really fun.
They are going to be fun.
And we're making it so if you throw a pie at somebody and they're fishing, like it doesn't interrupt your fishing, right?
Yes.
Because not like that was a thing with mud balls. So what
There you go.
about future plans for Zone Guide? Like, is this something that we're going to be kind of looking at iterating in the future? Are you basically just like, oh, that's it, it's done?
So the zone guide started as a
Character.
feature that included everything. We wanted to make sure we found everything that you can do in our game and how we can lead players to do that. And zone guide is the first part of that. It's like we're going to help you through a zone. It's not the end of it. There's tons more. Like I've got an entire list that was generated over months of everything you can do on our game and how we can get the player to access it. And then I leave it to Bobby to make the UI so actually we can do that, and I sit in the back and write emails. But we are definitely...
So you write the emails and then you tell people what to do.
I write the emails
Got
to
it.
Bobby, who sits about 12 feet away from me, to make sure that gets done. But this is Zone Guide is step one. We're working on other features for the Activity Finder as a whole. We're also looking at a lot of feedback on the forums. In-game, we pull a lot of data from the game, see what people are doing with the Zone Guide. And we're going to make improvements based off of the data that we get from there.
That's cool. So you can see all sorts of data.
Maybe.
We're watching.
yeah.
We're watching you. We're like Santa.
Oh. Yeah.
We see you. Well,
Gina just
I
made
don't know.
Santa creepy.
So
I just made it creepy. Sorry.
So to kind of dive a little bit into the functionality of Zone
Bobby's
Guide.
like, please.
Moving
Gina,
on.
please.
Roll with it. It's
Yeah.
getting entertaining.
So actually, this was the first character I played.
You mean that one right there?
That is a beautiful character.
Yeah.
What is
that
happening? What is happening, guys?
They found you. That's
They
what's
did find
happening.
me. Yes, they did. I didn't really hide very well, admittedly. So this was actually my first live character that I started at launch and played exclusively for some time. And this was back when we had veteran ranks and leveling was sort of a little slower.
Yeah.
So I went through, it's an Aldmeri character. I went through my Aldmeri zones, did all that stuff. Ebonheart zones, did all that stuff. Once I got to the Daggerfall ones, I killed zombies a lot to level. So part of this actually can help me find where I left off, because that was so long ago. So even though I've personally done Daggerfall a ton, I still kind of don't remember where I left off.
Yeah, it happens.
And since I have only done one of the zone story quests, as soon as I push this button, it'll show on my map
That's awesome.
exactly where the next one is. So I get to go examine a corpse. So let's go do that real fast, because it's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have some friends coming with you.
Now, something else you'll already see up there is there are two different quest icons going on. One is the standard quest icon that we use throughout the game, like before, for all of our quests, and that's still for majority of them. But then we have a new unique icon that helps guide the player through the zone story. This is a part of the main quests that you need to do for that story. That also, you'll find out that icon is on the other characters that will guide you to where the next story is, because sometimes you'll finish in a town a quest, and that finishes that town's quest. But there's more to the zone. So I wanted to make sure players could use that exact same iconography if they didn't want to open the zone guide to find the next person, that there would be an NPC somewhere that had that, and they're like, if I talk to him, he will make sure I get there. He's not necessarily part of the story. In fact, some of those quests are just go from point A to point B and you're done. But we wanted to make sure you didn't always have to open the zone guide to be able to interact with the new features we added for the zone guide.
Cool.
Is anyone else getting triggered that Bobby won't accept or decline that friend request?
So this Breton hasn't been dead very long, so I guess I need to go explore this.
I think you're gonna get attacked.
Spoiler.
Just a hunch.
So
You have a lot of people to help you, don't worry.
Yeah, true. I have a whole brigade here. So yeah, I've started the Blood in the Crescent Moon quest. It's a zone story quest, so it's marked as such. And now I'm just sort of back on track, right? Now I can just keep following
there he is.
the breadcrumbing, essentially, to continue my journey through this zone. And I don't even know where.
I think there was a
I got
bad
my
guy,
shopping list.
maybe.
There was a bad guy, apparently. So now I can go talk to the various townspeople.
Oh, I remember this
continue my
quest.
journey through it.
This is a very original quest, I think. It's an old one.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. It defaulted to Glenumbra because that's where I am, but I could go check out any zone that I want to, essentially. Like Oregon was one I've probably done almost everything in. Yeah, I'm missing one striking locale. And yeah, we even show some of these actually have achievements associated with them, so we'll show the achievement and your progress towards it. Some of them are kind of just places of interest or locations that we want you to go find, like the set stations, for example. So we just have a short list of that. Yeah, and I guess I haven't done a Dark Anchor there either. I just laughed.
Well, you know what you're doing
see?
tonight, then.
And I definitely, admittedly, I don't fish very frequently.
Sorry, we're
showing
only-
your journal.
Yeah, for sure.
Because one thing about the new icon as well is we put it in the journal.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of players already have a lot of these story quests. They just don't know which ones they are. Now we wanted to make sure in the journal you can open up, see what quests you have. Like, oh, these are zone story quests. These are going to get me skill points, set items, all that. So we added it here too to make sure players knew exactly what style of quest they're on, so they can continue their zone story.
Right. Yeah, like I didn't do Somerset on this character on live, and next to the Queen's Decree, I have that icon. So it's just something to sort of softly reinforce, in the same way that we kind of reinforce, oh, this is a quest that you want to do in a dungeon, or that you have to do in a dungeon or a trial, or etc. Without actually having to go to the feature and push the button.
Yeah.
So you can kind of go at it in a couple directions.
Horse butt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome. I think it's a really neat feature, like you said, that can really help people that haven't really been in the game for a little bit, or those that have been playing a while and you're just kind of not sure, like, what do I still need to do?
The people who want to do everything.
Yeah, all the things. And there are a lot of things to do.
There are a lot of there is a lot of depth. Edwards alluded to going through all the different things in the game, and he made this massive flowchart basically of all the different rabbit holes you could descend upon, and it was really cool to look at, actually.
Yeah, there's definitely
And
always
frightening
something
to
to
the
do.
team.
Yeah.
We showed that in the meeting. They're like, I want y'all to cover all this for me. And they're like,
Get started.
Yep. And we have. And this is step one.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's really exciting. Well, thank you guys
Yeah,
for
thank you.
Yeah,
coming on the
thanks for
show
having
and
us.
showing this off. Again, this is live now on PC and Mac and Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Yep.
It's with update 21. So Zone Guide and Guild Trader updates, that's all just part of the base game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank
Well,
you guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you around, I'm sure.
Have a good weekend.
Oh,
You
yes.
too.
Thank you.
Of course.
You have to have a good weekend.
Have to.
Well, I have two beautiful daughters. They will make sure I have a good weekend.
Aw, nice. PAX.
Yep. So while we switch guests, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Bethesda Game Days event in Boston, March 29th and
29th
30th?
and 30th. It's a Friday and Saturday. So we will be there set up with Elsewhere, hands-on. So if you're there, you can actually play Elsewhere before it's even on the PTS, which
For the
is really
first
exciting.
time.
So you'll be able to go through the zone. You can create the new Necromancer class. You can check out dragons, all the cool stuff that's around the zone. And we will be there along with Rich Lambert, our creative director.
Yep. Brian Wheeler.
Brian Wheeler will be there. Stop messaging me. Golly, it's blocking my window.
Mike Finnegan.
Oh, yeah, Mike Finnegan will be there, our dungeon lead.
Sarah, our social media manager.
Yeah. And we have some
And-
lovely marketing folks helping us,
Yep.
and sales folks, and lots of people just floating around.
And us.
And us.
We'll be there. So we're going to have 2 live streams.
We are. The first one is Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be streamed on the Bethesda Twitch channel. We will be talking about basically what everybody is playing at the event. So we'll be showing off Elsewhere the Zone. We'll be showing off the Necromancer and some skill lines. A little bit of the trial, Sunspire trial.
Give you a little tour.
Yeah, we're just going to kind of walk through it a little bit, show you what the bosses look like. They're all dragons, so it's really cool.
No way.
Right? Yeah, way. The second day, Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Daylight Savings Time, we'll be doing more of a Q&A. So we'll be gathering up questions ahead of time that you have specifically about Elsewhere or Update 22 stuff.
We'll probably be posting something, I'd say next week, maybe early the following week on, let's say, forums and maybe Reddit to gather
God.
questions.
Chat is so annoying.
Don't look at it.
You're so annoying, you guys.
So we'll be doing a Q&A. We'll be gathering questions. So watch out for those posts and post your questions about Elsewhere on Update 22.
Yep. We are also doing lots of giveaways. We're doing them at the event and on social. So even if you're not there, you still have a chance to win. So we're doing custom consoles, Elsewhere themed. They're really cool. It comes with a little custom controller.
It's cool.
What
It's,
else do we have? The headsets.
There's some Astro headsets, I think.
They're SteelSeries headsets.
SteelSeries?
I'm trying to think what the heck else. We have. You guys have seen the coins that we did for Somerset and for Morrowind. We're making new ones for Elsewhere. They're like metal, really heavy, cool coins.
They're cool. They
so,
have the main on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Really cool.
So we'll be giving those out at the event and also doing a few giveaways on social for them. So stay tuned for rules and all that stuff
we
that's
have
going to be going up.
2 pets that you can get.
Oh, yes. So if you watch the live streams, we're doing one of those clouded cinch leopard cub pets, I think is the name.
That's the name.
So that's guaranteed if you just watch either of the streams. And then, of course, we're doing Twitch drops as well. The other pet we're giving out, now this is an event exclusive, is a little like a fire guar. It's different than the one we had for the Elsewhere announcement.
Yep.
It's slightly different, but still very cute.
It's kind of our event pet this year.
Yeah.
And console players, you will be able to qualify for the drop pet as well, the clouded cinch leopard cub. Was that in the article, those details? No, I don't remember.
The details on what?
On how console players qualify.
Yes.
I think it was. So look,
well, yes.
there's an article on ElderScrollsOnline.com with details. You just have to log into the game within a 24-hour period.
It's
during
right
the event.
as the first live stream ends. So around 7:30 p.m. If you log in within 24 hours of there, if you're a console player, then you'll get the pet and the crates also. That's how we send them out. All right. So again, you don't need a PAX badge to attend if you're in Boston. If you find yourself wondering what to do in a couple weeks, hey, take a trip to Boston and come and see us. We will be there. It'll be a good time.
It'll be fun.
Yes. So we have a new lore master. What? It's Leamon.
Hi, Leamon.
Hey, how's it going?
Leamon Tuttle.
That's me.
You've been on the show a couple times before, but
Yeah.
as a writer.
Now,
Correct?
this new role, how do you feel?
Intimidated. No, it's good. I'm excited about
You need
it.
more beard.
I can't.
It
do
just stops
that.
there.
I've genetics. Like it's not going to get any longer than this. I'm sorry, everyone.
You know,
That's
I give it
disappointment.
time. When he starts graying out,
We'll see.
he'll look more
We'll
like
see what
Gandalf.
happens.
It's going to happen.
Don't hold your breath.
So what, you know, you've been on the show a little bit before kind of talking about what you do, but for anyone who isn't familiar with you, what did you do here at Sauce before you were Loremaster?
So I did a lot here. I started in QA, moved in to be a senior in QA, and then I transitioned to content. I was an associate content designer for a while, moved up to a regular content designer, and then made the transition from content design to writing.
Now,
And then-
content design, you make all the quests and stuff, right? Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So that's more hands-on with the tools in terms of creating the quest devs and how everything works, nuts and bolts. And then I transitioned to the writing team, and I was a senior writer there. And then they saw fit to promote me to lore master, which hopefully hopefully that was the right decision. We'll find out.
Well, we'll find out soon enough, right?
So who are some of your favorite characters that you created or helped create in ESO?
So I think we might have some queued up. I don't know. One of my
we can show 'em up.
favorites. One of my favorites was probably one of my first ones that I did, which was the Drake of Blades. I don't know how many people have interacted with her. She's in the Imperial City, and it's kind of a smaller player base there. But she was cool. She's like an assassin who is also on the spectrum. So it was a kind of neat type of character that we hadn't seen before, I thought. So
Okay.
yeah, I really dug her. She was fun.
Do we have a photo of her, the Drake of Blades?
I don't know.
Now, when you say you kind of created her, what parts of that?
There
Is it
she is.
just her
There she is. Yeah.
lines in the game, or do you also kind of have a hand in what she
So-
looks like and what her personality is?
Yeah, I mean the writers we get to along with the content designers kind of make those determinations about what they should look like. The content designers are primarily responsible for what the actual quest activity is, but yeah, dialogue that's mostly the writers. So yeah, she was a lot of fun to write for sure. And then gosh, who else? Revistem Navani. The wacky walking disaster Telvanni guy.
I just did some quests with him
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Actually, Jess's husband and I worked together on that, which was cool. So he's a lot of fun. He's a goofball. And I like funny characters. So people.
Well,
seem
you're a
to
pretty
dig
funny
him.
guy yourself.
Well,
so.
thank you. Funny looking. Yeah, but yeah, so
You
he's
said it.
cool. Yeah, right. And then who are we talking about after that? It was
Zukas?
Zukas, right? Yeah, Zukas is one of your buddies in Merkmeyer. He's a bright throat. And he was a lot of fun to write for as well. He's kind of laid back. He's laid back in a way that most of the heroes aren't, which was, he's kind of a lazy lizard. And the interplay between him and Jack Scorn, who's the Naga, both those characters are really fun to write for. Actually before Zukas on Somerset, I also wrote for the Augury the Obscure, which is another kind of like goofy fan favorite. He was ridiculous.
Talking Crystal Skull.
Yeah, he was just fun to write because he's just silly, and he says stuff that's like complete nonsense, and that's fun to write. So
Kinda like
he was
me.
cool. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the one that everyone knows you for.
Yeah, so the Seal, man.
Oh yeah, big
Clockwork
deal.
God. Yeah, he was
I've
he
heard
was
of
a ton
him.
of fun to write. So the Seal is like, I think it's the perfect example of, everybody kind of credits me with like, Leamon developed So the Seal, but everything in game design and in life generally it's a team effort, and a lot of people contributed to So the Seal, particularly Andrew Young, one of our senior content designers. The two of us, we'd knock our heads around in conference rooms for hours talking about, what's this deal or whatever. And I got to write the Truth and Sequence stuff, which is all the really crazy, deep lore for So the Seal and everything. And we had a blast with him, and people seem to really dig him. So that's
He's
rewarding
definitely a
for
fan
sure.
favorite.
Well, a lot of people really dig you right now because they're like,
Oh.
"Oh my God, you did all these things, and you did even more things too." But I mean,
Yeah, those are just
we don't
your
have all
favorites.
night. Well, neat. So what was sort of like the process of you becoming Loremaster? Like that's a pretty big deal, right? Did
Was
Lawrence
there,
do
like-
any crazy like rituals?
Yeah, I
Was
know.
there
I wasn't
christening
like
or-
summoned to a throne room or anything. It was no. I mean, it's I
Somebody
was,
put you in an office and was like, "You're it."
Yeah, pretty much. No, it's honestly I was shocked when I heard that he was leaving, and because he's like a mainstay.
Yeah.
Of so that was, just getting over that initial shock took a while. But yeah, they thought that the work that I've been doing so far was cool, and they thought I had a really firm grip on the lore. So yeah, they offered me the gig, and I took it.
Have you
After
always
much
been
deliberation.
into? Yeah, you're like, do I want this? Yes. Have you
Well,
always
you don't
been?
want to screw up, right? I really
It's
did.
a big deal position,
Yeah,
right?
it really
Like,
is. People
yeah.
really care about this stuff, and I really care about it too. And I remember I went home and I talked to my wife, and I was like, I don't know, what if I screw up, And she was like, Leamon, you know what you're doing. If you think you can do it, you can do it. So I, full speed ahead. Hey, it's the Lemon Turtle.
Yeah, so this was actually, I've got to give a shout out to one of our players, MD Jessup 4906.
Put it back up. There it is.
Hey!
That is Loremaster Leamon
Can
Turtle.
we pat his
That's
little
actually
head?
a little painting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give him a little. Let's
There
see,
he is.
little chin
He's a
scratches.
cutie. Yeah, you'll be surprised to hear. I know people they
Poking
started
his lemon butt.
They started the Lemon Turtle thing on there. You will be surprised, I'm sure, to hear that I have been called that for a really long time.
Don't say.
Yeah, that is not new.
But it doesn't bother you.
No, when you grow up with a name like Leamon Tuttle, like,
Yeah.
after a while,
I just call him Tuts.
it all rolls off. It's weird.
So,
Loremaster Tuts.
walk us through a day in the life of a Loremaster for ESO. Like, what is it like?
Yeah, so I'm still figuring that out, to be
Yeah.
honest. I've been on the job for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of transitions in terms of, Lawrence was a force of nature, and he was taking care of like a billion different things, and just trying
And he
to.
could pronounce everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Can you do
in
that?
in that ridiculous voice of his.
Yes.
No, I can try. Like if we did a vocab quiz, I could stammer through it. But no,
I'm sure you would do better than the rest of us.
I don't know. Maybe Lawrence was crazy too because he had that voice where he
The
could
theater voice.
read the
Yes.
phone book and make it sound like a Homeric epic or
Yes.
something. So no, I can't do that. I'm slightly less entertaining than he is. I'm sorry.
What have you always kind of been into Elder Scrolls lore and Elder Scrolls
yeah,
games?
for sure.
Mhm.
I remember my buddy Ben, who may or may not be watching. I'm not sure.
Hi, Ben.
We used to go over to. I used to go over to his house, and we didn't have a computer at my house, and we used to boot up Arena and sit there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Didn't
play
have
the
a
game.
computer?
No, not at that time. Arena was what, 94? 94, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get a
we were a
pass.
bunch of Luddites, man. We were still banging rocks together at the time.
Go outside and play
but-
with sticks.
No, it was, so I used to go over there and we used to play Arena together, and yeah, I played all the titles after that. Sunk a ton of time into Skyrim, and obviously, got a lot of experience with our game too. So, I've always loved the lore. I love the stuff that I'm really excited about. I love the Alessian Slave Rebellion stuff. For those of you who are into that, the Tribunal lore, obviously, that goes without saying, and Argonians, man. Argonians. I'm bound. I'm like totally trying to get everybody to get on board with the Argonians because they're absolutely the best race in the game.
How do you feel about the word moist?
You got to get with moist if you're gonna write for Argonians, man. It's just part of the deal. So yeah, I love Argonians, and I'm so glad I got to write for Murkmire. That was like a dream come true. So,
Awesome. So, our audio guy's losing
He's
it.
just shaking his head like, really? Really? You had to go there?
So how do you work with the other teams as a lore master?
It's a lot more working with the teams, with diverse teams than I was working with before. Because as a writer, you work with your content designers, and that's a very that relationship is all the time. You're always talking to them, and art to a lesser extent. But as the lore master, I'm talking to art. I'm talking to marketing. You guys. I'm talking to obviously contents writers. Basically, I got my fingers in everything because there's everything that we put out has to be verified. So
I think it's reached that time of night where everything is giggle worthy.
Oh, geez, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Trying to hold it together here.
So do you essentially kind of make sure that every team is adhering to not only the lore and that it's all consistent in ESO, but also across the other Elder Scrolls titles?
Oh yeah,
consistent?
everything. You have to know. You got to go all the way back to Arena, and I mean because everything. We're all in the same.
That's a lot to know.
Yeah, there's a lot. Luckily, I mean, there's we've got all the books in the game. There's some very very smart people out there like Lady Nerevar and the folks over at UESP and stuff.
And Imperial Library.
The Imperial Library with Lady N, which is a great resource. I encourage all of you to use it. But yeah, there's a lot. The community is really really awesome, and everybody's really invested, and there's a lot to it. So a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, but I love it. I know it really well, so hopefully everything will turn out great.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah,
It'll be
you're
fine.
doing great.
It'll be fine.
We've actually already gotten a couple interviews for you that we're working on right now, written
Sweet.
interviews. So
Yeah.
those should come out in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
cool.
news came out and everybody came running out
We
of
had
the woodwork.
emails.
Like,
No,
wanna
people have been
talk
like
to him.
super cool because I mean that's tough. Somebody like Lawrence Leaves, I think that
The response was great.
they well,
to
surprisingly
you,
great.
yeah.
Exactly. Like because I expected like whoever got named, it was like going to be like chopping block. Like,
yeah,
oh my God,
you're not Lawrence.
You're
yeah.
not Lawrence. Which is
been
true,
great.
but like. It was so it was really really cool to hear everybody was like super supportive.
Well, you know your shit, so like, what more can you ask, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna do great. And it's not, the other thing is not just me. Like there's everybody here, particularly people in the content department. They know their stuff too. Like I said. Andrew Young, he knows this stuff inside and out. He's one of our senior content designers. Everybody's been working on this stuff for a while now. So it's not like I have to walk around like the principal and like bang on people's desks and say no.
You've got your Lore Master ruler.
Yeah.
So that was actually kind of a similar question we saw
They
in the
asked about
forums pop up.
rulers?
No, you're asking a lot of principals. They were kind of asking if, let's say devs wanted to do something that was sort of against lore. Do you essentially have like a veto power, or can you say like,
Yeah.
oh, this needs to change, it's not right?
Yeah, and I mean, that's not something that you want to, swing around like a hammer all the time
Yeah.
and say, no, you can't do that. I mean, Lawrence, one of the things that he told me before he left was, our job is not to say no. Our job is to say, okay, I hear what you're looking for. Let's try to get you there in
How about this
in the way
instead?
that is going to make sense in the lore.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the gig. I mean, I'm ultimately, I'm not here to scold people. I'm here to say, all right, let's try it this way to make it work. So and people have been super receptive to that, like eerily receptive. Like I remember I went to a meeting, and one of the first meetings I went to, and they were saying something. I was like, and they were like, we defer. Yes, what you said. Let's not do that. And I was like, oh, okay.
You have the power now.
Yeah. So that's pretty wild. But yeah.
Are you looking forward to Elsewhere?
I am. So Elsewhere, I got to actually write on Elsewhere. I was a senior writer. I wasn't a Loremaster.
You were still kind of transitioning,
yeah,
I guess.
So I got to do some objectives there and some independent content, and I got to write a few books and stuff. So it's cool.
Exciting.
I'm kind of seeing that from that. So it's weird. It's kind of like passing the baton. Like as Elsewhere launches, I'm kind of like moving in this other direction, which is really cool. So
it's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Has the Fez come out yet?
I was just going to ask about Fez.
So the Fez is on my desk. Well,
Yeah.
No, I mean, one thing that people, I don't know if they know this, I mean, Lawrence had like this bat cave like collection of Fezes, like it was
And monocles?
This is why I wouldn't
I
be,
mean
right?
every shape and size, like, so I wound up with one of them. And it just appeared on my desk one day. So I don't think I have the regal bearing, the gravitas to wear something like that yet.
Not yet.
Maybe one day.
Maybe the next
Maybe
show.
one day.
It'll happen.
When
Maybe
I
he'll just have it
sacrifice
with
a
him.
crab on camera or something. Maybe I'll but
That happened.
it did
Years
happen.
ago. Yeah, ask us about that. Kind of an interesting question that also got posted on the forums. I guess from a lore perspective, could we ever consider like community written or community inspired lore? Like having them sort of be part of the process in a way, or do we kind of strictly keep it pretty in-house?
Yeah, I mean, we keep it in-house for the most part because, we don't want to, I don't know, step on anybody's toes, and, we don't want to steal things from people, you know? And I think that we've got a lot of really great ideas. Now, I mean, that said, I mean, one of the cool things is that when we create something, there's a response to that, right? And that response is almost never what we expect, which is really neat. So like, when I did Truth in Sequence, which is the Sow the Seal sermons or whatever, I had a very clear idea of what I was getting across. I was like, yeah, this is obvious, whatever. And then it made it out into the world, and all the folks out there in the lore community were, picking it to pieces and saying, well, it could mean this or it could mean this, and like I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, yeah, it totally could mean that.
That's so cool.
And yeah, it's amazing. It's this weird kind of miraculous thing that happens where you create something, and you send it off into the world, and it lives its own life, and people look at it and they interpret it one way or they interpret it another.
And that's very in line with Elder Scrolls lore
absolutely.
as a whole, right?
Yeah, I mean that's basically what it's all about, right? Is that as writers, it's our job to create things that people can debate. And if we create something and we say, this is absolutely how it is, and we write this very kind of like solid, irrefutable thing, then we failed, because that's, then people say, oh, well, that's clearly the truth, and the debate is over. And
that's not Elder Scrolls.
No, not at all. I mean, that's the death of Elder Scrolls is, when you do that. So it's this fine line. I mean, you want to provide lore that's interesting and that people can really think about, but you also want to use a light touch and let people kind of come to their own conclusions. So when somebody sees something in a way that's fundamentally different from the way that I see it, but I wrote it, that's really encouraging. I think that means that we've done something right. So cool. And I love reading that stuff. Like I mentioned on, I think I poked my head on to the Elder Scrolls Reddit and said, hey guys, keep it up. The stuff that you're producing is really interesting, and it's fun to read. And yeah, I mean it's really rewarding for us as writers that we're prompting these kind of discussions. So yeah,
And the
it's cool.
fan art.
And the fan
Isn't
art,
the fan
man.
art great?
Holy
Yes.
mackerel. Yeah, the stuff is crazy. And I follow some artists on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Serpentwined and what is it?
Luciana
Polo is
Yeah.
the new
yeah.
Meta. It's Maria, I think.
Yeah.
There's people. There's some tremendously talented people out there producing stuff, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's the ultimate compliment.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for people who are looking to get into either the industry or writing or
Yeah.
I don't know how many
A
lore
lore
masters
master?
there are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it's I mean so there's three big things I would say. First thing, the most important thing a writer can do is write. So you need to be writing as much as possible.
Your craft.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and also don't be shy about it. Don't write something and then throw it away and never show it to anybody. I mean, you wanna write something and show it to somebody and have them give you honest critique and take that critique to heart. Don't go in expecting.
It's hard not to get defensive.
Yeah,
about it,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, and praise is great, but praise ultimately is not probably
help
going to
you get
make
better.
you get better,
Yeah.
right? It's critique is so. So yeah, do that. Second, read a lot, and read nonfiction. Read nonfiction, because everybody says, "Oh, I want to write fantasy. I'm going to read fantasy," and that's fine. You can do that, but if you're trying to create an authentic world that people could actually live in, I think the most important thing you can do is read about the world that we actually live in. So, biographies, philosophy books, newspaper articles, any number of things you can do. And then third is play games. Play games as much as possible when you're not writing or reading, and try to imagine what the challenges that game that you love, what challenges they had to overcome in order to create it. Because games, like any medium, there are restrictions on how you can write for them. It's writing for a game is not like writing a novel. Narrative is produced. It's provided in a very specific way. So if you can get into that headspace, then you're going to do better.
Yeah, I've heard from some of our writers and even designers that writing for dialogue, like the VO that we do in the game, is very different than writing for a novel.
Oh, totally.
No,
yes.
it's got to be. Yeah.
Both are useful, but they're different skill sets, and the writing for VO in this day and age with video games is really needed.
So the biggest tip I can tell you about that, if you're trying to do that, is just read your stuff out loud.
Yeah.
Because it can get kind of forsoothy if you're not actually saying that.
Do people really talk like this?
Yeah, exactly. So and we also have the added benefit of just from the experience of sitting in with actors and stuff. You can see what trips them up and what works well, and using a ton of like crazy lore words right one after the other is agony for an actor. So you don't want to do that to them.
Are you going to do what Lawrence used to do and kind of record, like, these are some of the more difficult things?
I don't
and how to
know.
pronounce it?
I don't know.
Because I know he used to do
Somebody's
that. for
gonna
that.
have-
Well,
yeah.
our lead writer Bill Slavacek, he might be doing it. I might be doing it. I don't know. But that is like a really weird thing. I think Conway.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, it's weird. You just sit
Maybe
in front
this
of
is
a
the
thing.
real reason why we don't have a Dwemer, like anything in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, 'cause no
They're
one
just a
wants to
mystery.
actually pronounce
No one
the
wants to
names.
actually
Nobody
pronounce
wants
the name.
Actually,
I'm a fierce defender of the removing vowels thing. Like, anytime we put out a dwarven thing, it's like, oh, this is impossible to think. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Take those E's out. They don't belong there.
How do you come up with dwarven names to begin with? Because
Oh my
I'll be
God.
honest, it seems like
There's a formula.
you just kind of
It's-
do
Is
this.
there?
You
It's
break
not
out
just
a
hit the keyboard?
calculator. You have to calculate, like look at the stars and no, it's insane. I mean, most of the things that we've gone to in terms of like Dwemer places or places that already existed or whatever. But yeah, it's I don't know. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. It's complicated. It's too complicated.
Your job sounds complicated.
No,
It
I'll
is,
be
but
honest.
it's fun.
It sounds
It's
it
fun.
is
It's
fun.
like I mean, it's cool because it's kind of there's nuts and boltsy kind of stuff about it, and but it's also it's pure creation, right? I mean, you're taking this thing that's existed for decades at this point, and there's so much to work with, and there's so much to mine, and being able to riff off of that and look back on it's a legacy, right? I mean, people have been working on this series. There's all these designers, some designers who are still here. Who I would like to meet at some point, some of the guys down at Bethesda or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just so much there, and being able to take that and create something new, but something that riffs off of what exists already, it's an honor and a privilege, and it's very, very cool. And
It's a big effing deal.
yeah, it's it's
It
really
is.
really fun. And like I said, before, it's I'm the lore master, but it's not, this is not a solo endeavor. Like, AAA game development is absolutely a team sport, and everybody's in this together, from art to writing to content to you guys. We're all contributing in important ways, and so It's not just me like with a crown on my head saying, it shall be thus. It's like it's not like that. We're all in together.
That's so sweet.
It
Leamon.
is.
That was so nice.
That's true, man. I'm not telling you anything isn't true.
Can I put you on the spot for a second and ask you a Loremaster question?
Oh,
Maybe.
no.
It's an elsewhere one. It's something I'm dying to know. How do Alfiq put their clothes on?
Oh man.
Yeah, they don't even have thumbs.
They don't have thumbs. It's true.
Is it magic?
So Alfiq are one of the most magically adept fur stocks in the Khajiit world. So yes, either they're probably wealthy and have other people do it for them,
like
or
that.
they use spells to clothe themselves.
Or they're just really agile?
Yeah,
just
I mean,
zip in.
I've done it. You throw a t-shirt in the air and then dive into it. Like that's.
Isn't that how everyone puts their shirts on?
That's how I do it. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, Leamon, I think everybody loves you now.
Wow, thanks.
Not that
man.
they didn't before, but
No,
you
you're all
are
good
clearly
folks, man.
passionate.
Thanks.
And,
No, it's
you're a
like
good man for the
seriously,
role.
it's a huge honor. I never in a million years thought that I would be doing this when I was sitting playing arena in Ben's basement. So
Aw. That's
Hi,
awesome.
Ben.
it's really cool. Thank you guys for the vote of confidence. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no sweat, man.
Thank you. And as Jess said, there's a few interviews that we're working on with Leamon that'll be put out somewhere on the internet. So stay tuned for that. He'll be talking more, and I'm sure we'll have you on the show again. I mean,
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. It's exciting. It's fun.
do you tend to do any crazy things like Lawrence used to do? Like, are we going to end the show with like
I
some
don't know, man.
magical
I think we started at the top. I'm
sacrifice,
not
or-
as entertaining as Lawrence. Like, let's get that out of the like page one. Like, I'm not that exciting.
I'm happy to
Like, I can do card
not
tricks.
sing.
I can do some. That's not
No
true. I
mud
can't do any
crab
card
rituals.
tricks. I'm making that up. No, I'll try to be. I don't know. I'll like bring a dad joke to tell at the end of every session or
Perfect.
something.
Perfect.
Wow.
We should,
No
look at
promises.
we should look at the lemon turtle again.
Yeah, put it up.
Loremaster Lemon Turtle. It's a good way to end. All right, there we are.
Hey!
All right. Well, thank you so much, Leamon.
Thank you,
guys,
Leamon.
and thank you guys out there. Appreciate it. Keep playing. See you in
And
Tamriel.
we will see some of you at the Bethesda Game Days in Boston in a couple
Yep.
weeks.
We'll be there in a couple weeks.
And have a good weekend.
Right
Thanks,
on.
everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.